For me, one thing that I would tell anybody is that any lawyer who is defined by his political party is not a lawyer properly so called. Lawyers are defined by our area of specialization: commercial bar association, criminal bar, general practice. You get the point. So when I hear somebody says that I'm an NDC lawyer and an MPP lawyer, that presupposes that there's a course of study called NDC law or MPP law. So I have never understood why any lawyer, any group of lawyers would form an association based on a partisan thing. If you are lawyers belonging to a political party, absolutely, the legal team. I don't know what I'm wrong, but we have conservative lawyers association, the Labour Lawyers Association, or Republican and conservatives. I don't know. What I heard about it, I must honestly say, of course, it's people's right to association, so that's entitled. But I personally felt uncomfortable that a group of lawyers would do that. Secondly, you see, any association that you form, your mother is the bar. Do you beat up your mother? Which cultural thing? This whole idea that immediately you form an association of partisans and the bar becomes an enemy is wrong. Look, in this country, majority of cases are settled in court. Political cases or cases with political may be less than an infinitesimal part of the things that we do on a daily basis. Now, if you have an election petition, it's one matter. But don't let us smear the whole judiciary as if that is what happens. Because even in the Supreme Court, the right of appeal in Ghana is constitutional. It's the final court of appeal in criminal, in civil, in chieftaincy matter. That is the daily. How many original jurisdictions with political slants as a whole? So this thing that we've done to our judges, it's still so. And for me, scholarship at the bar in law is intellectual. You and I can disagree on so many things, but the idea that a judge wrote a judgment because of politics, I think it's insulting. In the US, they are fortunate that it is OP. Clarence Thomas is a conservative. Sotomayor is a liberal. So you know where it's going. But they talk about philosophy. So we also should know that judges have their own way, the philosophy that guides their interpretation. So for me, this thing is something that we have to do. And also, when you go to the Judicial Training Institute, there's nothing like judge MDC judgeship or the module that you have to tell somebody an MDC judge or an MPP judge. At times, let us look at Ghana's history. Chief Justice Akwa, Chief Justice Sophia Akufu, where would you tag them? Both of them went to Supreme Court the same day, nominated by President Rollins. They became Chief Justice under an MPP government. So where would you place Sophia Akufu? Where would you place George Akwa? You get the point. In the recent election petition, it was unanimous. Yao Appel was the senior judge after the Chief Justice on that panel, appointed by President Mahama, who was a party. But based on the evidence, he did not dissent. So how then do you then tag the election petition decision as politically induced? So the issue is that we as lawyers must not join the fray. Because when we say that, we just let people lose confidence in the judiciary. Because one of the things about arbitration, whether at customary level or dispute resolution, customary level, commercial arbitration, everything, is that people must have confidence that the arbiter who is going to settle the dispute between the parties is neutral and impartial. Why is it that maybe commercial arbitration doesn't gain currency in this country as opposed to court litigation? Because when people see people who are not judges properly so-called determining matter, there is this feeling that they don't have confidence in them. Why is it that people have confidence in chiefs to settle disputes at the customary level? So for me, but you see, one of the things I've never understood, since when did the GBA become a target of a political tradition? Because, for example, after our conference, very partisan lawyers were saying that we have turned our conference into a political jamboree. Seriously? I mean, anybody who was at Kipos, I don't see an NDP or an NDC flag there. Can we be held responsible for the president's speech or the attorney general's speech? Certainly not. Why don't people then say that, look, it's the attorney general who did that? Yesterday, I was the congregation speaker for the Faculty of Law graduation at UPS. Nobody saw my speech. So if I had said something untoward, why would you blame the UPSA management for giving me the opportunity to come and maybe say something? So I would appeal to our colleagues. And one thing that we have to realize, and that's a personal experience, in 2001, I walked into a circuit courtroom, and then I saw Mr. Cletus Aboka, who was the deputy minister in the Rollins South as a minister, and then Mr. Kobna Fosu, who was the central regional minister, in their wig and gown, arguing cases back to the daily grind. So this is what we have. That's nothing we have. We are lawyers first, and we are lawyers who are members of political parties. Look, law and politics has this symbiotic relation worldwide. I think the profession that really populates politics around the world must be law. But the thing is that people know that they are lawyers first. Look, in Parliament, don't we have doctors who are MPP and DC? Have you seen the GMA being tagged by any political party before? No. Do you know what has happened to us? Since the Constitution, every act of Parliament that established a commission of body, the bar does have representation. Secretary Exchange Commission, the accountants have taken over. Today, we are being asked to be licensed to do conveyance, real estate, and insolvency practices going to accountants. Why? Because when we are busy insulting ourselves, the others are quietly putting their partisan differences out and then go. Look, the Ghana Medical Association Secretary General recently was past Secretary General. Recently has been elected as a parliamentary candidate for Lambusi constituency of the ND Titus Bill. Have you seen anybody accusing the GMA of being NDC? No. But I guess that if one of the national executive members of the bar today is selected as the parliamentary candidate of the MPP, everybody's going to say that. And by which metric do you determine that the lawyer is better? Or even if a lawyer is a member of a political party, why do you think that he cannot be neutral and fair as a bar leader? So we have to stop these things. We tarnish our own image. Listen, I have a Facebook account that I don't post anymore. What I get is that there are some people who, of course, you assume names, who send me personal messages insulting me that I've sent the bar. I went to City FM to do an interview. Next time I saw some guy on Accra FM call his insulting me, all because. But I don't know the day that I led the bar executives. Can you imagine these people? Everybody has their view. We'll delete them. That let's go and campaign for the MPP. Have you ever heard any bar president in the history of this country openly saying that this year the bar's view is that let's vote for this political party election? That day your members will ask you to resign. So the bar is not a plea of any political party. And we plead with our own members to stop doing doing that. But I never knew that the bar is part of the opposition of political traditions that now attacking the bar. So you know what hurts me? These days you'll be there and any person, the GBA lost its relevance, also thing. Recently, I posted a challenge, and I'm posting that challenge to anybody who accuses about partisanship. Fortunately for us in this country, we've had NDC and we've had MPP presidents. Since 2001, we have President Kufuor and Nana Akufo-Addo of the MPP, and John Mahama and John Evans Atta-Mills of it. Funny enough, of the four, three are our members, President Kufuor, the late President Mills, and President Akufo. I've asked anybody to give me the empirical evidence that during President Kufuor and President Akufo-Addo's time, the bar lowered its activism and heightened it during President Mills and Mahama's time. That's the whole point. The bar took a decision when Kwame Tete was president. I think I was 2002, 5, or 6. Listen, matters that are political will stay out of it. And as a young lawyer, I remember when the late bar President Mokwasi attacked the government for going HIPIC. The council told them that, listen, that is the government's political decision. So if a government brings up a policy, as far as the bar is concerned, if it doesn't raise it's not unconstitutional, doesn't raise constitutional issues, it doesn't go against fundamental principles of rule of law. That is for the party to die. One day somebody asked me, what about the National Cathedral? I said, listen, it's for electors to punish or reward a government for that. That's got nothing to do. But something like corruption, those are governance issues. Those things you're going to hear our voice. So we are not active or less active. But then again, I'll tell you, the media landscape now also affects us. And we all know very well that the media landscape, they have their way of doing things. I always say this that as National Secretary, when my predecessor, for Mr. Forson, was president, the bar issued a statement condemning Mavis Howard, Honorable Mavis Howard, that time he was Minister for Special Analysis Fisheries, for pulling out a gun on. I don't know which media house covered the story. So when you issue a statement, we are now dependent on the media for the media to carry out. And if the media's internal policy is to not carry out the story. So we would always be the GB, and we have always been the GB. But one thing that we also have to understand is that now, the reason why people think that we are relevant is that I would ask anybody who's listening to me to come to a back of the back and National Secretary, go to a conference room, see the panel of jurists who have become bar president, arrest later on 24/7, whether the bar can afford to make a mistake. But these days, the social civil society is populated by people who claim to be civil society. They don't have limits. So they comment on politics, governance, everything go. And people have put us in that bracket. So they expect us to do that. Look, at times we all know very well that some civil society groups set up and they are as partisan as a particular political tradition. How come people think that we should be like that? So the civil society space now is very, 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 very populated. They are specialists on energy, on this stuff. But there's one thing that I'll raise up my hand, that what we've not done is public interest litigation. We've not inundated our courts with a lot more litigation on matters that we think we feel strongly. And secondly, I think what we should be doing is providing expert opinion on matters. For example, recently we all heard the brouhaha of the GMPC acre deal on Jubilee Fields. It became partisan. But these are matters that raise very interesting matters as far as governance is concerned. Why don't we commission our experts in oil and gas to really look at the agreement and issue a professional legal opinion as to its effect on us within the context of the law? Those are the things that we should be doing. Then it becomes a professional opinion. You get the point. That's what we should be doing. But we would always be what we are. We are not part of any political party.